Okay. So this is a 2-second exposure with the gain set at 30. And then let me see what I'm looking at with the main scope. Okay. This is the 16-inch with the L-enhanced filter. So you can see the 432 running at about f4 in the 16 with the L-enhanced filter, and this is the 10cTEC running at about f6, no, f4.4 in the Zenithstar. I think I'm average stacking. I got a bunch of in the stack going already. Let me lower the white. I'm at 180. I gotta see if I can pull out the Running Man. How you doing, Chicago Sky Rich? I'm gonna have to start stacking with the other one too. This is what's my exposure time on this? This is only 1 second exposure. I'm gonna go up to a 2-second exposure. Two-second with gain 60. Oh, no kidding, Matt. I was sick beginning from Christmas until about the first week in the month. Let me see where I'm aiming relative to that. Let me drop my light shroud. It'll also hold the heat behind the light shroud by my monitors. Okay. We got our flu shots back in November, I think it was, or October. So what is this exposure time I'm dealing with? This is 2 seconds. 2 seconds with the Zenithstar. I put the description in. The problem is I've got 2 different cameras going, so it's whatever I put up's not going to be for both cameras. Let me drop this down to about 90. And I'll do a rusty. I'll grab an image and tweak it. But yeah, for the Zenithstar 61, it's gain 30, 2-second exposure. I have the gamma at 1.2 and the saturation at 90. You can see the histogram there. So let's do a snapshot. Process range. I gotta show this to David when he gets, that might be a little bit too aggressive. Let me go to 125. How you doing, Teresa? So this is, like I said, a 2-second exposure, and I've been average stacking. And that's a little 61mm scope. Now let's go over to the 16-inch. Play with the histogram here. Thanks, Teresa. And this is the 2-second exposure, gain 60 in the 16-inch. Am I stacking? Live stacking. Nope, I'm not live stacking. Now I'm live stacking. Yeah, I gotta really cut the exposure down. Let me stop the live stack. This is like 1 second. Let me go to 3/4 of a second. That's 3/4 of a second. Well, maybe make it a half second. That's half second. Okay, half second. With gain 60. And let me start with the histogram at 240. Yeah, so now you can see the trapezium stars. Let me see, let me stop the stacking over here. And let me center the Orion Nebula in the big scope. Okay. Okay, so now let me start live stacking. Okay. Get about 20 in and I'll start dropping the white point down in 30 point increments. I had a few objects I wanted to look at tonight. Medusa was one. Jim Sophie had posted the Medusa earlier today, so I wanted to try it. Yeah, I have some astronomy buddies from my local club are outside setting up their scope so they can observe. And then they'll be crashing in a little cottage I have up front. Okay. Make sure the wife's doing okay. So now let me lower the white point again. Let me go down to 180. Okay. Let me bump this down to about 150, 145. Again, this is a half-second exposure. Okay, one more tweak. Let's go down to about 100. Okay. Okay. And with these short exposures, they grab fast. So let me grab a snap. Process. Range. Yeah, there's no black to adjust with that short exposure. Okay. That's not stacking. So let's go to
telescope synced. Telescope slewing to target. Telescope slew complete.
second. Let me go to a little bit longer. Go to 4 seconds. Where's the white balance? What is it going to do? Do I have a dark applied? I'm at 30 gain. This is what the 10C 30 gain. Okay. Okay. Let me start. For now, I'm just going to increase the exposure time, and I have to go get something for the wife, and I'll be back. I don't know if I can do a 10-second. It may be too much. Let's see what happens. So let me stop the 10-second and let me go to about a 7-second, or maybe 5 second. Let's see what 5 does. How about making it 7? Okay, where is the color adjustments? Let me go to about 1.3. Let me start. Start stacking now. Yeah, this is a 7-second exposure. Let me see where the scope is aimed. You see it, Dave? 7 seconds. That's that little 61mm scope. No, that's a Zenithstar 61. This, I'm gonna go get something for the wife. I'll be right back. Okay.
the light's going when I open the door, so it's all taped up somehow.
That doesn't affect me.
Well, unless you pointed this way, I guess.
Well,
So what was it? It looked like the lagoon. I mean,
what?
that last.
This is the flaming horsehead.
Oh, the plane.
Yeah.
And that's what the Zenithstar.
That's AllenAttack at the end of the belt. That's the belt going.
That's the Zenithstar. That's the Zenith.
Zeta Orionis. Yeah. It's the left star in the belt.
No, I know that, but you can actually see the whole. So let me ask you. This is ridiculous. I had the 10.
Yeah.
And with my scope, either I couldn't get it to work, I couldn't come anywhere near that. Is the scope you have? Is this camera that much more sensitive than the 10? This camera that you have.
The 432. No, what you're looking at is the 10. This is the 10C. It says 10C. It's the cool version of the 10C.
Oh, okay.
But it's the same camera, same
yeah,
sensor.
but how and those aren't. You said that 7 seconds exposure.
Yeah, 7 seconds. You see it counting down here.
And how many did that stack about?
I have 16 in the stack. But it's still an average, so it's still only 7 seconds. The averaging smooths out the noise.
Man, that's beautiful.
I mean, you can zoom in.
Well, I mean, you really don't need to. It's beautiful. Shit, I wish I'd kept my 10.
You sold your 10?
Somebody offered me a lot of money for it. I said,
okay.
Oh, because I wanted to get the 432. You know me, I always wanted the latest.
Well, I got the 432 in.
But that's a 61. I mean, my 120 is twice that aperture.
I mean, you look at this. This is a full.
At least that good.
7 second exposure. You see the countdown. I have the gain set at 30 out of 250, so it's really low gain.
No, I can tell. I mean, you can tell.
And that little 61 millimeter scope is running at about f4.4.
Oh, you know that
it's a negative 5.9.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably the difference because I was running at f7.5. That's a number of steps. Okay.
For some reason, this camera decided to stop running.
Yeah, that's awesome, Jack. Listen, could you bring a couple Kleenex when you come in? If you go into the place?
You need some paper towel?
Well, yeah, my nose is...
Right here, in the closet.
Yeah. So you know what I need then, Jack, is I need a focal reducer is what is really would help me tremendously, because that's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. I can't believe that's a 61 millimeter.
Yeah. You can look at it right here. It is.
That's ridiculous.
I'll be back. I have to go take care of the wife. For some reason, this camera stopped functioning. But I'm going to leave this up and running. So I will be back. I have to go take care of the wife.
It's going to be 39 at like 4 in the morning.
He's still got the time and that apple.
It is.
That's the weight on the record, right? Well, I'll cook it like I told you. I'll cook one leg. Yeah, but it's 30 pounds. It weighs 30 pounds for sure. Okay. Well, we want Yeah, we're gonna have it like this coming. Yeah, he's heading out of town this week. This week he's going to Florida. No, he's going to Florida. Oh, yeah. Exactly. He's exactly what it's called.
I'm back. Okay. Hi, Bob. And Dan. Yeah, I just did a coffee run. I have to check and see if my guests need some coffee. I should have offered when I went into the house. Again, this is a 7-second exposure with the little Zenithstar. I forgot to take my evening meds when I was in the house. No, he went to the hospital, had some tests done. I'm gonna guess. Let me start. Let me start Epic Pen. I got a video been running for a while now. Let's see. And this is a view with the Williams Optics. Okay, I'm gonna leave that down here at the bottom. Okay. .61 millimeter, 2.4 inch. And I got the instead of the field flattener that Zenithstar makes, I have the 0.75 Ritchie accretion focal reducer that Rock sells in it. So it changes the f5.9 to f4.4. And right now I'm dealing with a, let me put this information up. Yes, it, well, you be the judge. It's a 7-second exposure. I think I have the gain at 30. Yeah, gain is at 30. I know Rock says it's only made for RC scopes, but in my estimation it works pretty darn well with this scope. And what other parameters do I have adjusted? I have the gamma at 1 point. Gamma is 1. Saturation is at 90. And gamma is 1 point. What did I say? 1.3. Let's see. Let me bump the histogram some more, get it down to about 150 or so. David.
Yes, sir.
Let me show you a little trick you can do with the software. So what I'm doing is I'm average. I started with the white point at 240, and I gradually moved it down to about 150. While it stacks building.
Okay.
And when I get to a certain spot, like I can just grab a snapshot. There's the snapshot, and then you hit the process tab, range, raise the black point to about 20, and lower the white point.
And that's going to give it a lot more contrast. Wow, that is so pretty. I can't believe that's a 61 millimeter. Though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the part that's so scary.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nothing.
See, on the
That's
top
binoculars.
on the top of the solar scope, I can mount at 61 millimeter. I can mount my 4-inch. I have a 102 millimeter refractor.
Yeah.
And I put my C8 with the Hyperstar on the same dovetail on the top, so I can change scopes.
I gotcha. Yeah, there's definitely a C8 Hyperstar in my future. I was just thinking about that. You know, I remember why I didn't buy the reducer for the Takahashi.
Yeah.
It's like $1,000.
Yeah.
You
And then
know?
I'm using one of Rock's RC focal reducers in that little refractor. In fact, somebody just asked, can you use an RC focal reducer or a refractor? I said, well, you be the judge.
Well, why do they call it an RC?
It's made by Jim at GSO for the RCs that he sells, but
it's obviously pretty good quality.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the only thing an RC would have to, a Ritchie Craigie, it would have to be very sharp to the edges.
Yeah.
I mean, because those are very wide.
I mean, the
field.
stars, you can look at them; they're pinpoint across the field.
Those are probably what, 18th magnitude. Jeez,
I have no idea.
that's unreal, man. That is so beautiful.
Let me go.
The part that pisses me off is it's warm in here.
The other thing is I have my little heater here, and with this light shield, the heat gets trapped behind the light shield. You know,
man.
You're more than welcome.
Well, I gotta set up.
You gotta.
Take my time.
Look, if you need some coffee or Rich needs some coffee, I just went in. I got Sky some dessert to bring her sugar up, and I made me a cup of coffee when I was inside.
I got a Subway for a little later, but
okay.
I'm still setting up. I got myself level, and I'm close.
It's 7 seconds, Dan. Yeah, you look at the. I'll show you the saturation. Here's the color adjustments, and here's the saturation. The default is 128, and so I've lowered the saturation a little bit. And then I bumped the gamma up. The default is 1. I'm up at 1.3. Everything else is at the defaults. Yeah, saturation is lower than the defaults, and the gamma is a little bit higher than the defaults. Not bad for 7 seconds. Well, let me see if I can find something else over in this area of the world. Where is what's the number on the rosette? Okay, there's the rosette right there, 2244. So let me go to the rosette.
Telescope slewing to target.
And let me stop
Telescope slew complete.
the live stack. And there's the rose dead center. Okay. Let me make sure it's still centered in the field of view. That I'm not. Okay. So there's the rose, 7 seconds. Where's Dewey? This is like Dewey with his 240 millimeter lens. Let's see, 61 millimeter at f4.4. We're 240 plus about a 260 millimeter lens equivalent. So now let me raise the white to about 240. I'm going to lower the black to about 60. How high is this? This is altitude is 45 degrees up. Okay. Let me see if I should go at a little bit. If I go at a longer exposure, it's going to push the histogram further. Okay, I'll start right here. Let me start the stacking. I'm keeping everything else the same. 7 second. See, it shows 4 seconds on the video tab, but I'm actually in trigger mode right now. So the trigger is set at 7, the gain is at 30. And I'm starting the stack. I do have the Orion SkyGlow imaging filter in this scope. Wait till I get a few in the stack. You're already starting to see the dark nebula to the right of center. Yes. Williams Optics Zenithstar 61. They sell for about a little bit less than $500 in the U.S.
Low range.
No, it's a doublet. I think it just has. I'd have to check and see what the specs are on the glass. Yeah, it's an Apple doublet. Let me see if I can go on my iPhone and see what it says about this thing. Let me go to Google. Williams Optics Z61. Say it's an APO doublet refractor. Yeah, it's considered an apochromatic because of the, I guess, the special glass. So now I got 20 in the stack. I'm going to bring the white point down to about 180, about 200, about 200. I was looking at Sky Tools and trying to see what other objects are in the field of view. Yes, that would be good, Dewey. You're seeing a lot of detail in the dark lanes to the 2 and 3 o'clock of the center.
Operation completed.
Hi, Omar. Well, let me lower the white point some more. The only thing I'm recording tonight is the video. Yeah, Jeff, Dewey's LUT is like my LUT. You can take the H-alpha unit off and use it as a, in his case, an apochromatic refractor. In my case, I can take the H-alpha unit off, use it as a 6-inch f6 achromat, or I can put the calcium K module in the back and use it in calcium K mode, all with the same tube assembly. Let me get a few more in the stack and then I'll do a grab and tweak. We're supposed to have clear skies here maybe tomorrow night, then another rain event comes in. That's where my friend David Diaz messaged me this morning about him coming over. I said, have at it. So that's why he's here. Okay, so wait till I get 50 in the stack and then we'll do a snag and tweak. Okay, that's 50. So let me do a snap. There's the snap, process, range. See if David wants to see the David, you want to see the rosette?
Absolutely. Beautiful. Very famous.
I just grabbed a snapshot and I'm tweaking it like I did the other one.
Don't tell me that's the 61.
That's the 61. Yeah.
Come on, man.
And that's an average of 57-second exposure. So it took 350 seconds, 6 minutes to get that, but it's still a 7-second exposure.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's a very famous.
Yeah. Because it definitely looks like a rose. And you can look
Yeah,
at
it does.
You can look at some of the dark.
I know it's.
Let me zoom in. See the dark tendrils in there. Yeah.
How about, while you're speaking of rose, how about Caroline's rose?
That's up in
Cassiopeia,
Cassiopeia, 7789.
Yeah, that would be a good one for tonight, huh?
Where is Cassiopeia? Which side of the
Let's see,
meridian?
hold on, I'll tell you. It is on the west side.
Okay, well, I'm going to stay on the east. How high is it? It should be still pretty high, huh?
Oh yeah, it's about 60. Well,
I'm going to go over
it's
to...
about 2/3 of the way before the meridian flip.
Okay. Okay, let me stop the stack. Let me go back
Who's
to...
that little guy in, not the jewel box, there's always a crab.
Crab would be small in this scope. I'm going to the Christmas tree. The Cone Nebula.
Yeah. Gosh, Cygnus is perfect. Is a perfect position for your side.
Let me see where Cygnus is. Oh, see. Let me get back to darker down.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at
That's a line.
here, Orion. Yeah.
It's right up there. Cygnus is going down.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's a line up there.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And you consider, well, I haven't filtered it, but the moon is first quarter. It's half full, I think, a little bit around 7:30. Let me go to...
There's some cool stuff in Draco too, isn't there? What was that thing? A green thing?
Oh, there's a satellite going through the rows. It just went through the rows.
Oh, was that streak?
That streak is a satellite, yeah.
Wow.
And you'll see the next one, it's gone. Let's see. I'm going to go between the cone and the Christmas tree. I'm going to go right there. Let's see, center view. And then let's slew to and center.
Telescope slew into target.
Okay, so I just moved over to the cone
Telescope slew complete.
and Christmas tree. Christmas tree's upside down. Oh, the comet's by the double cluster. Yeah, yeah. There's another satellite going through. Satellite right through, right here. See, there it goes. Moved again. It's a close one because the path is long on this. There it is, off again. But yeah, the cone is right there. So let's. Yeah, the tree is upside down. Well, let me see if I can go with a longer exposure. Let me see. Let me stop the exposure. Let me see what 10 seconds does. And maybe I'll do it in inverse flip and see if I can get it to... Ten might be too much. Yeah, let me go back. I'm going to go back to the 7 seconds. Loop, and I'm going to do a flip. Let's see, where is the flip? So now hopefully the Christmas tree ends up, it does, it ends up correct. Okay, so the Christmas tree is there. And let me start stacking. last night I got the Pole Master out, Matt. Did the Pole Master polar alignment routine. And then when I went to, was it the precision alignment, the little box, the green box and the red box were coincident, one on top of the other. It was perfect. See if I can point out why they call this the Christmas tree. If you follow these stars here and these stars here, and you come across, and then this is the base of the tree here. And then the Cone Nebula is right at the apex of the Christmas tree. It's like the ornament on the top of the tree. The cone is right up in here. Okay, great, Omar. Oh, that's right. And you got this. Where you High Point didn't have the scope. Where did you get it from? Okay, a Gene Astro. Okay. Yeah, they must have been clearing out inventory because the prices have gone through the roof on these things. It's ridiculous. How many's in the stack now? So now it's time to start dropping the white point. Let me get it down to about 110. Great. Yeah, Matt, you're not getting your pod until the spring, from what I think you said. Oh, evening, Mike. I didn't see you there. Thanks for joining in. Okay, another gamma, a white point bump downward. I've always had issues getting the cone to come out. You're getting a hint of the Pole Master is really simple to use. I got the adapter from Anthony at ADM, and I just mounted it underneath the solar scope, and I think within 5 or 10 minutes I was polar aligned. Yeah, I opted not to get the polar scope for the astrophysics mount because it was probably twice the price of the Polemaster. And they said since I was permanently set up, I wouldn't really need it. Just do a drift alignment and then everything would be fine. But then tearing everything down and putting everything back up, the Polemaster was a cheap alternative to quick alignment. Drop it down about 150. Okay. David, are you set up and observing, or are you still setting up?
Oh, I'm full of, I had to put my mouse together pretty much from zero position, and I wanted to get here at 3, but
yeah, you didn't.
Pretty hard. It's pretty hard.
Yeah.
Well, I had the grandchildren over last night.
Okay.
And they didn't leave until late, and I had to wait for Rick. So, but you know, I just the way I got in my mind, I'll just stay up late. You know,
yeah.
Stay up till 2 or so.
You're welcome to stay up as long as you want. And that the heater, yeah, that heater air conditioner combination. You can set the heater to whatever temperature you want. And as for a second bed, it's a trundle. One slides out.
Yeah, I got what you call it, a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
I used to throw it on the floor. That's what I normally do.
Also, right underneath the attic stairs that are closed up, there's a couple of cots too, if you want.
Okay, yeah.
That's my Katrina cot, my cot from my office that I slept on for 3 months in my office after Katrina. I had my air mattress on the floor for the first, I think, 3 or 4 weeks, and then finally they got us these cots to lay on. that won't work, Omar. Yeah, I mean, I did a polar alignment last night, and it took me all of like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it works really well. I've been at mine a long time, but Tim Mann bought one, Scott Luke bought one, and everybody pretty much loves it.
If you're going to have a portable setup, you have to have it. With me, I really didn't have to have it, but when I bought the mount, George at Astrophysics says, why waste the money on the Astrophysics polar scope, because it's like $500, $600, something ridiculous. He said, you're going to be permanently mounted, so why bother? But then when I had to tear everything down and put everything back up again, that's when I got the Polemaster, and like I said last night, 5 minutes I was aligned. Yeah, the blue nebula at the bottom is starting to pop out now. So let me grab a snap. Snap. And then let me do the process range. Raise the black. Maybe not that, maybe to about 18, and then drop the whites. Let me zoom in a little bit. Let me go to 100% zoom. Hit the control and mouse wheel. The cone is right here. And you got this nice blue reflection nebula off the base. And then again, the Christmas tree there, there, and there. But this is the base of the tree right there. Nice. Let me see where the double cluster is. I want to see if I can find that comet. Let me go. Defaults, currents, comet, Penn star, interactive atlas. It's just south of the double cluster tonight. Okay, so let me stop the stacking. And now we're in the live mode. And let's go to Comet Penn star. Let's see. Slew to
Telescope slew into target. Telescope slew complete.
Yeah, it's in the west now. Okay. Okay, there's the double. So which way is the comet from here?
Telescope slew into target. Telescope slew complete.
The other day when I did a meridian flip, let me go to a bright star near here and sync on it since I did a meridian flip.
Telescope slew into target.
Went to a bright
Telescope
star.
slew complete.
Okay, so let me get that. Oh, I'm hitting the dome. Yeah, I think I'm hitting. Oh, as west is east and east is west. Yep. So I gotta do an east-west flip. Let me increase the slew rate to 64x. So let me get, this is what Miram, M-I-R-A-M, is the star's name. Okay, so now I'll sync on Myram.
Telescope synced. Telescope slewing to target.
Now I've moved over to the comet. Let's see if it gets anywhere near.
Telescope slew complete.
There's just so many stars. I think is that the comet right there? How many stars in a row? 1, 2, 3, and in a bend. 1, 2. It's not a very bright comet. But I think, maybe it's my imagination, but I think I see a tail kind of in that direction. So now let me so let me start the average stacking. Okay. And see if we can tweak out that comet a little bit better. Because that's the comet right in the center. It's Comet Pan-STAR. When Rusty discovered it last week when he was broadcasting, it was somewhere around here, I think it was. And it was moving in this direction at about 1 degree every 5 days. So we'll just add some to the stack and then I had lowered the green a little bit. I may let me see what happens when raising the green a little does. Because Rusty's comet was definitely greenish in color the other night.
I didn't get that.
Sorry, Siri. My phone is talking to me. Okay, so I got 20 something in the stack now. Evening, Rodney. There's a ton of stars up here. One of those happens to be a comet. Comet. Let me put a marker in. C/201. I'm trying to bring it out a little bit better. Just this is such a low powered scope. Okay, let me lower the Yeah, Anthony makes a nice adapter for a pole master. It screws directly to it. And then I got the one with the Losmandy dovetail. It just clamps me. Oh, just killed my phone. Yeah, Jeff, I got my Max HD guider back from Anthony on Thursday, and he said it's working perfectly now. He said it could have been that he made the clamp blocks from one production run, and he did the base plate from a different production run, and the tolerances are so tight that it's possible that's what ended up messing up the fit. And then when you throw the anodizing on top of it, it made it really too tight. For some reason, the software works better in planet mode when stacking. We've talked to the programmers on numerous times, and they still haven't been able to figure out why. I think he salvaged part of mine, and he might have changed the base with the Losmandy clamp. I'd have to go back and reread his email. But it's working perfectly now. I found out that the Williams Optics Zenithstar comes with a little right angle bracket with 2 holes for Allen screws. The problem is it's not a true 90 degrees. So when I bolted the Zenithstar onto a Vixen dovetail and then put the Vixen dovetail into the Max guider, I could not get it. I couldn't center the scope in the Zenithstar with the 16-inch. I had to put a shim under the back end of the Zenithstar bracket, and that made all the difference in the world. Now I'm able to get both scopes lined up. I'm gonna do one more tweak and a few down, move it down to about 120. Yeah, Jeff. Yeah, I got my friend David Diaz outside with his friend Rick. He's got his scope set up on my observing deck outside the observatory. And he's doing some observing with his scopes. But he keeps coming in and looking at what I got on the screen. He was kind of blown away with some of the things I did earlier. When I get this down to about 120, I'll let it build there. Dave, what camera do you have now? You had a 10C, you said, huh?
Yeah, I have right now. I have an Attic.
Okay. Oh, one of those rival competition.
Yeah, but I don't use their software, their rival, so I just take pictures. I don't do that.
He's got an Attic. He had a 10C, which he had, somebody wanted to buy from when he sold it. Let's see. I'm gonna and do a capture. Snap. And let's do the process range. Let's see what I can tweak out of this. The comet's so small. The comet comes out a little bit better. See, there's the comet right there. What is the perihelion information on this comet? Let's see. Object information. What does it say here? Perihelion is May 4th. Right now it's magnitude 9.24. And the coma is only 1.7 arc minutes. But yeah, that's the comet. And then this was the cone and the Christmas tree from earlier. Before that was the rosette. And then this was the flame and horsehead from earlier. And I don't know, oh, and that was way overblown Orion. And now we're back to live. So let's see, what else is on the hit parade? I think so the comet's dead center, so I'm centered on the comet. Right nearby is the Sol Nebula. Let's see if I can...
Telescope slew into target.
We're moving to the Soul Nebula.
Telescope slew complete.
Oh, let me move the door. That's in the way. Okay. Okay. Maybe I'll have to go to a little bit longer exposure for the Soul. Let me see what 10 seconds does. I mean, it's right there in the center. So let's see, let me change the dark to a 10-second dark. So let me, oh, okay. Dark field, disable, import, 30 gain, 10 seconds, open, enable. Okay. Okay, yeah, he's laying on his back facing up. So let's start the stack. Good night, Teresa. Glad you could stop by. Maybe I gotta do a white balance, Jeff? Oh, God. White balance. Bingo, white balance. Okay. I'm seeing, I think, the head here, the indention here, and then the body is like over here. So let me erase this. This is the Soul Nebula. Click. S-O-U-L. Oh, come on. Backspace. Turn off the caps locks.
I got a comet filter if you want to try it out later. The 1 1/4 supposed to bring out, if it has like a gas tail, it's supposed to bring it out. Give it a try.
I can show you the comet I did just now. It's the brightest comet around, Pan-STAR.
Yeah.
And it's that little fuzz right there.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the brightest one. I'm working on the Soul Nebula right now.
Oh, okay, yeah,
You can see
you're cool.
his body here, the head, the chin. He's like laying on his back.
You're still on the Zenithstar. Wow.
Yeah, I'm getting hooked on these wide field of
Oh, I'll
view.
tell you, yeah. That's cool.
After this, I'm gonna go to the heart.
There you go. Write a song about it.
Dewey up in Whitby, Ontario, he does a lot of this with his. I do it. Yeah, it is Dewey. He has like a 250 millimeter lens. He hooks his camera right to, and
Oh, man.
he was doing that at Rock's Star Party last July when we were up there.
Then he got a crowd. That's why I feel, man.
I think it was like 4.5 degree field.
That's ridiculous. That's a constellation.
When Elon Musk launched his first Satlink satellites,
Yeah.
3 days after launch, they had a prediction on not cloudy nights. One of the sites where the satellites would be, and I centered the mount on that spot. Turned the drive off, and you could see 60 trails go zipping by.
Well, that's sad. I tell you what, I saw that.
Heavens above, that's it, Jeff. Night, Nels. Glad you could stop by. Bob, I may be in your neck of the woods after the Grand Canyon Star Party and Lowell Observatory. Heading back to Louisiana, we decided to take a route through Las Cruces and then down through San Antonio and Houston. So I may be looking you up when I'm in the neighborhood. If you're up for a visitor. Okay, time to we'll do that. Yeah, we're gonna stay about 4 nights in Flagstaff and go visit Sarah and the group up at Lowell. Help her out with the Solus camera she just got, and the 10cTEC she got for the 14-inch plane wave. Good night, Matt. Glad you could stop by. How many do I have in the stack? Oh, this is a 10-second exposure too, so let me change that. 10-second exposure. Yeah, luckily we don't get too many planes going to the Slidell Airport at nighttime. Yeah, we leave the Grand Canyon and we're gonna get a campground in Flagstaff for 4 nights. Last year we stayed at the KOA, and the time before that was a little bit further down the road from the KOA. Good night, Rodney. It's always fun going up to Lowell and then helping Sarah out with the public outreach they do up there. Okay, Bob, will do. And the Grand Canyon Star Party is... Let me look at my calendar. Calendar, February, March, April, May. Somewhere around the 22nd to the 24th we'll be there. Yeah, I'm definitely going to try to twist Sarah's arm and move that 10cTEC over to the 32-inch f3. That would be incredible. It's like a C925 on steroids. About the same focal length, but a little bit more aperture and a lot faster optically. Okay, I think I'm ready for a capture, a snag, a snap, whatever you call it. Let me get to about 55 in the stack. Snap, process, range. David, you want to see the Soul Nebula? David,
Yeah.
you want to see the Soul? Not bad at all.
I can actually see it.
Yeah, the head. See, here's a DSS image of the Soul.
Yeah.
It's kind of, flipped.
Well, no, I mean, I really kind of know what it looks like.
Yeah, there's the baby's face and his neck, and yeah.
Wow, I still can't believe it's a 61 with 7 seconds.
And
That's a fucking amazing.
I'm up to 10 seconds.
Oh, you cheating. Oh, man. That's a
Gorgeous.
That is. That is pretty. I can't believe that the number of stars in the field is ridiculous.
Well, I'm going to go over to the heart, which is right next door.
Yeah.
Catching all of Dewey's favorites. Yeah, it did. It did, Dan. I mean, it's not bad for a 2.4-inch telescope. This was there was like 70 in the stack, 65 in the stack before I grabbed and tweaked it. What is the heart is right next to the soul, right? What's the number on it? Is it IC 1805? Do you remember? 10 seconds, Dan. Oh, multiple star system. Heart nebula. Let's see if I can find the heart. Search. No, I don't want to do that. I want to search here. Heart. H-E-A-R-T. Heart nebula. Diffuse nebula. Action menu. Interactive atlas. Oh, there it is. Wrong way. Okay. IC 1805. Okay.
Telescope slew into target.
So I'm moving over to the heart.
Telescope slew complete.
Stop the stack. Oh, it's not bad for. I'm going to move it up. Of course, up goes down, right? No, it went up. And then I want to go to the left. I think we got the whole heart in there, guys. Let me start stacking. starting on the soul now. I got the whole soul. I mean the whole heart. I got the whole heart in there now. Okay. Let me get behind my nice toasty warm.
Yeah, I can't feel my fingers.
You can't feel your fingers out there, and you're talking to these people that are in Buffalo and up in Whitby, Ontario. Yeah. And they laugh at us when we tell them it's 40 degrees. Yeah, David's saying he can't feel his fingers outside, and it's probably like 50 degrees out here. Dewey just fell off his chair, David. How deep is the snow at your house, Dewey? 3 feet a couple of weeks ago. I can honestly say in my entire 71 years I haven't seen a total of 3 feet of snow in Louisiana. I'll quantify that because I have seen higher snow elsewhere. I remember hiking up in the Rocky Mountains in June, and there was snow everywhere. Yeah, Dan, I'm about 40 miles northeast of New Orleans. I was born in New Orleans, worked in New Orleans my whole life, but I'm living on property my parents bought in the late 50s, about 40 miles from New Orleans. This is going to be nice, dude. I think I got the whole heart. What do they call that part at the top? Is that like they call it this, the fish head or something or other? That part of the heart?
If you come to a pause point so I could open my truck door.
Go right ahead, it's not going to hurt me.
Okay, when you pointed like right over it, and sometimes the lights come on.
Well, if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And it's nothing that I can't redo. If it gets bright, I can start the stack again. This is gonna be nice. I did some solar last. God, it was almost a week ago. But there was so little on the sun, very few minor prominences. I think there was one little sunspot, not much at all. When I get to 30, I'll bump it up, bump the white down. Yeah, it's like everybody's coming out with new solar scopes. Like you got that new 130, and I know Daystar just introduced a new solar scope 130. We'll be ready for hopefully in 4 years when the eclipse is, it'll be more active. Already got my spot reserved for the eclipse in April of 2024. David, you already making plans for the eclipse in 2024?
I already have a place, I think. At least somebody said that they have a place.
Yeah.
It's in Texas. There's a few good sites in Texas.
I got a spot at the Canyon of the Eagles Resort where we were in October. Eagle Eye Observatory. Jim Sheets, who has one of my cameras up there, they called me Friday a week ago. He says, look, you still want to come up for the eclipse? I said, yeah.
See, can I take my trail?
I said, he says, how long are you going to be there? I said, I'll be 10 days centered on the eclipse. He says, good, I'll reserve the spot next. Because he's like the astronomy host for the resort. And I helped him out. The first night I was there in October, he had 165 Cub Scouts come to his observatory.
Now, where is that?
Burnett, Texas. It's about an hour northwest of Austin. We had stopped by Johnny and Beth Watsky on the way up, and then we drove up to Burnett and spent 10 nights up there.
Do they have any sites like available? I mean, do they have RV hookups?
They have RV hookups. They've already. He called me. He says, "Look, we've already leased out every room in the lodge."
Yeah.
He says the only thing left is RV. He says, and if you want to come, I said, I'll tell them that you're going to be assisting me. I said, look, I have no problem. I'll bring my cameras, my scopes, the whole bit, my projector, my screen.
Oh, yeah.
You have a big double. You have a roll-off building that splits in the middle and rolls each way.
Oh.
I said, you'll put the screen on the one in the shade, and then have a projector, and it'll work perfectly.
What's the name of the place?
Canyon of the Eagles.
I might see if they have any spots left.
Yeah, I mean,
You got a 20. Well, actually, it's now with nose to nose, it's like 32 feet. So we got a nice one.
Yeah, mine is. Well, I could have gone to Johnny and Beth's, because they're but they're near the southern limit, so they only have about a 2+ minute eclipse.
Yeah.
The center line of the eclipse is about a mile north of the resort itself, in the middle of Lake Buchanan. So you have a 4.5 minute eclipse. Oh yeah. Yep. Okay. One more little bump maybe, and then we'll see how this is gonna show up. Yeah, I saw that, Jeff. Yeah, the granulations on the surface were pretty incredible with that scope. Let me do one more minor tweak to about 135. Let me do a snap followed by a process range. Let's see how well the heart comes out. David,
Yeah.
you want to see the heart nebula?
Maybe we could try 1613. Oh! That's beautiful.
10 seconds.
That's really pretty.
It is. That really came out nice.
Just like you said, that wide field, man, I'm not used to that.
If I had the 16 on it, I could possibly get that little piece there.
You could get one of the veins, you know. Oh God, that is beautiful.
Yeah, Dewey, this reminds me of your H-alpha images with your black and white. With your H-alpha and your 250 millimeter lens. That is beautiful. All All right, what's next on the hit parade? What else is around here? Did the heart, did the soul? Andromeda still up? How high is this? It's 49 degrees up right now, so that's pretty good. Yes, it was. I remember that. The Jack and Dewey Nebula. You had to be there, Dan.
Telescope slewing to target. Telescope slew complete.
Okay, let me turn the scope. Oh, that's pretty low. This is 35 degrees up. Okay. Maybe I can go with a shorter exposure. When you're using that triad filter, do you? That was try a little bit shorter exposure. I'm going to go to about 7 seconds. Stop. See what 7 seconds does. It's getting a little low in the west. Yeah. Let me change that description down to 7 seconds. Okay. Yep. Already seeing dust lanes. Let me see how the wife is doing. Yes, still using the 61mm. I just decided I like this better than the 16 tonight. I'm going for the wide field stuff. I'll share the weather with the group. Let's see. The Weather Channel says currently it's 45 and clear. I forgot to look for the Medusa. Son of a gun. Yeah, okay. Yes, it is, Jeff. I'll get about 20 in the stack, and then I'll start changing the white point. M110 is showing up nicely. M32 is just a bright, looks like a bright star. Yeah, the lanes are really coming in nicely. Okay, so now let's start dropping the white point. Yeah, here's the info, Dan. Right now, Andromeda is 34 degrees up at azimuth 301. So it's starting to go down into the a little bit west-northwest. And it is coming up pretty good there. I might try triangulum's a little bit higher, I think. Yeah, I'll go to triangulum after this, M33. So where do I stop the white, Jeff? Do I stop here, or do I go any lower? Oh, let's do a snap, process, range. Yeah, if I do too much with this, it's definitely gonna blow the center out. Yeah. And back to the stack. Jeff, have you ever raised the white point in the middle of a stack? Will it darken it, or is it I'm gonna go back to 210 and see what happens. Yeah, Rusty, glad to see you. Yeah, I saw you were visiting relatives in Texas. Well, this is building. This is some of the things we did earlier, Rusty. This is with a little 61mm scope. That was the flame and horse head. And the rosette. Evening, Jim. This was the Christmas tree and the cone. Just, it's such a wide field. And this is hard to tell, but this is the comet. Right there in the middle. That was Comet Pan-STAR, the one you caught the other night by accident. And then we did the soul. Followed by the heart. And then we did Andromeda. And now I'm letting it build. And I'm gonna push the black into the curve a little bit. Go to 70. I have another camera in the 16-inch, but I'm liking the wide field of view so much that I haven't been using the 432 and the 16.
This is a garbage can.
The small one right here. Here's my Andromeda.
Oh, look at the little one there.
Yeah, that's 110, and that's 32 right here.
Yeah.
And then this is the live.
Wow.
So let me do a snap, process, range. The problem is it's so hard to do this without blowing out the core.
Oh yeah. You kind of.
Oop, too much.
That's
20
nice.
and then lower the white point.
Big nasty galaxies got it. It's warm in here too.
Yeah. Why, it's nice.
Grab another paper towel here.
Sure.
Jack, you know.
It's up on light switch on the right, and I'm going to try M33 now.
Oh, that's a real light.
Oh, yeah. Those things are hot. Those halogens or whatever they are.
Yeah. Gotta pay attention to where the light goes.
Huh?
Where the paper towels were.
Right above the air conditioner. Straight ahead.
Oh.
Up against the ceiling.
Literally right in my face.
Yeah, if it had been a snake, David. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Center at cursor.
Right.
And slew to and center
Telescope
at
slew into target.
moving over to M33.
Telescope slew complete.
Let's see, where am I? Relative to
You're pretty close to the moon. That's scary for
There's M33 right in the middle.
Well, it's like, Galileo, Einstein, those guys, they didn't have anything like this.
No. No.
The Herschels came close, huh? They didn't have any go-to.
Did I go the right way or the wrong way? Yep, I'm pretty close. Okay, so let me sync on it there.
Telescope synced.
Okay, so I'm on M33. And then let's just start. Stacking.
Rag 'em and stack 'em. Look at that.
Huh?
Looky there.
M33. Very small M33.
Yeah, I've never seen it that small. It usually takes up a whole frame, at least.
Oh, that is, yeah. So this is 39 degrees up, a little bit higher than Andromeda was. Maybe I'll drive the black point up a little bit to 75. Jeff, I know you usually like to have your histogram starting around 50. Okay, time to bring the white down. What are you seeing? Spiral structure ready. Cool. So I try to capture a screen video while I'm doing this, so I can always play the video back and see what my settings were as time progressed. One more bump down to 150. So I've lowered the white from 250 to 150. Seven-second exposure. Yeah, it does. Get to about 35, and then I'll grab a snap. I usually start with about 15 to 20 in the initial stack, and then lower the white point every 5 or 10. So right now I got 35 in the stack. I'm going to grab a snapshot, process, range. Not bad for 7 seconds. Okay, let me see what's next on my hit parade list. Oh, didn't want it to close that window. I wonder if I can get the Seagull Nebula. Oh, I'm going to try California right now.
Telescope slew into target. Telescope slew complete.
Okay, off to the California Nebula. That is strange. Oh, stacking's enabled. That would account for that. There's California running across the whole field of view. Okay, so let me go to going to California. A little bit more. I gotta go up a little. Oh, that was the wrong way, I think. No, that was... Okay, let's see if that does it. One last tweak. I went down a little bit. There it is. Okay, I'll start right there. Start at 45 and start the stack. Let me do a white balance. Okay. I don't think, Dan. I usually just move the box up into one of the corners where it's darker than in the center, and just let the scope do an automatic white balance. See, right now I got 7 in the stack. I'm going to get to about 15, then I'll start dropping the white point. Seagull is in what? Oh, it's in Monoceros. Okay. California is 2 degrees long by 2/3 of a degree wide. And the Seagull is about the same size. I'm going to go to the Seagull next. Okay, now I have 15 in the stack, and I'll start dropping the white point. Drop it to about 210. And let's see, let it add a few to the stack. Good night, Nito. Glad you could stop by. I was dodging clouds all day today trying to get the scopes all aligned and set up. So now I've added 5 at the lower white point, 6, Let me drop it down to 180. Okay. I started at 23, so I'll go to about 30.
Telescope synced. Telescope synced.
Nope, okay. Okay, so now I've added about 6 more to the stack. Let me drop it to 150. Already starting to see some nice structure in the California Nebula. I may have to try the witch head. Do it on a 120. Okay, this will be the last one, and then I'll grab a snapshot. Let me go to about 45. Still have a good crowd on. Okay. Put 2 more in the stack and I'll grab a snap. 1 more in the snap, in the stack. Snap, process, range.
I'm in the warm-up a second.
Want to see the California Nebula?
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's 2 degrees long by 2/3 of a degree wide.
It's just as good as it gets. You know?
Yeah, Rusty, was
61.
Rusty who's from Oklahoma. He's just west of Oklahoma City. He started this on-the-fly tweaking of the range and all with the software. I call it on-the-fly imaging.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like you don't need 10 hours of data and 50 hours of process. I mean, you can do it, but that I'm not into that.
Well, no, I mean the thing is it's it's at what point is do you say I can another 10 hours I can get another 2% out of it? I mean, isn't that about the size of it? I mean,
remember Joe Mize at Chiefland Astronomy Village would come over and he says he'd bring a a monochrome image because it was one of his color, LRGB.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like 10 hours of data, and it was beautiful.
Oh, I bet.
But then he had to do the RG and B.
No, then get another 20 hours in the dark room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I've been there, done that.
That's yeah.
Not fun.
Yeah, to do it right, to spend 50 hours of processing.
Well,
It's like
tonight, I will get one object. Now it's my own fault for not getting there earlier.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is that's the idea. Like in the night, and a lot of people they go over multiple nights.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Like as a regular, that's how they do it.
They may take one color each night, and
Yeah.
I'm going for the Seagull Nebula now. Stop the live stack.
How about Flaming Star, man? That's a big one.
I did the Flaming Star's nice, and I did that the other night, and the tadpoles are right next to it.
Yeah.
And we finally saw the tadpoles the other night.
That's a tough one. The old S Big Ad.
Okay, I'm off to the Seagull. Let's see. Interactive Atlas. Okay, there's the Seagull. Here's the head of the Seagull, the body of the Seagull. Center view at cursor, and let's go down to slew and center at cursor.
Telescope slewing to target.
Which way is it going, George? Am I doing a great meridian flip? Yep.
It sure looks like it.
That's where having a 4-degree field comes in handy.
Yeah, really. So when are you going to get your ass-down dome rotator so it'll automatically rotate with the scope?
No.
Not your good, huh?
Telescope slew complete.
If I was going to have a totally remote system where I could take photos and the whole bit, yeah, but I'm going to be in the dome when I'm doing it.
Well, that's true.
So why?
Yeah, you're right. Just because you can. Proves you can. Oh, let me get this here.
Okay. Let's see. There's the Seagull. Damn! Already, it's showing up already. There's the head and the wings.
See it.
Oh God, that's crazy.
That ought to be illegal. It's like communist astronomy,
So let me get the head of the Seagull, that bright star, in the field of view. Let's see. Wait, I did a meridian flip, so east is no longer east and west. Let's see. Had to change the direction. Let's see, which way did it move? I think it moved in the right direction. After this, I'm going to try the witch head, because the witch head is rough. I have not used my DSM in a while, Dewey. Sorry to say. I'm going to stop. I'm going to go to 10 seconds, and let's see what 10 seconds will do. Loop at 10 seconds. You got it. Too many toys and not enough time. Let's see what 10 seconds does. It's okay. Gamma 1.5 in 10 seconds. Let me see. Okay, so let me start the stack. I'm gonna go, this is 10 seconds. Anybody else observing tonight, David, that you know of?
Walter has the flu.
Ah. Okay.
Tim Mann has his observatory open for the first time this year today. I have a lot of choices, Jack, but
I mean, it's so bad with Tim. He's got that darn mini storage in his backyard that really killed him, you know. I mean, he lives next door to my sister-in-law. Yep. When they put that mini storage, it's like, before they had the mini storage, my sister could walk across out the back and go to Walmart, walk across the empty field. Santa Cruz Court. Yep. Yeah. Maybe time to put another layer on. It's getting cold here, folks. Not Canadian cold, but cold. Thing is, when you're sitting down and not moving. Yes, he is.
Telescope synced.
Seagull's starting to come out nice. Yeah. Well, we have the reverse. In the summer down here, when it's like 90 degrees and 90% humidity, and you have to have a fan on to blow the sweat off and to blow the mosquitoes away, that's no fun. See how many I got in the stack? I got 12 in the stack now. Seagull's not coming out bad. Okay, 14 in the stack. Get one more in the stack and I'll lower the white point. 15 in the stack, drop it down to 210. I won't be able to drop this very much at all because of the where the histogram's located. Probably just one more drop to 180 will be it. Welcome back, Jeff. Yeah, I raised the exposure to 10 seconds, but I had to increase the gamma to get the histogram close to center. One more drop down to about 180. And let it build there till about 30. And then I'll grab a snapshot. Yeah, I was going to use my 102 tonight, but I decided to put the 61 on. I hadn't used it in a while. Spring has already started here. I got weeds and dandelions growing up in my dog yard in the back. I almost have to get the lawnmower out and cut it already. One more and I'll grab a snapshot. Welcome back, Nels. And there's the seagull. Not bad at all. According to Sky Tools, the seagull is 2 degrees by 2/3 of a degree. So if the wings are 2 degrees, then I have over a 4-degree field from corner to corner. Nice. Let me see, where is the witch head right now is 49 degrees up, 202, seagull is I guess I gotta do another meridian flip. I'm gonna try the witch head. You see my seagull?
Jonathan Livingston.
And they say that's 2 degrees wingspan. So I got over a 4-degree diagonal field.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. That's the advantage of having small aperture.
Yeah, it is. And state-of-the-art software. A damn good camera. It kind of fits in.
You gotta get another 10C.
Yeah, tell you what.
Slew to and
Telescope slew into
probably
target.
another meridian flip, folks. Let's see. Yep.
All this
Telescope
warmth
slew
and white
complete.
light too.
Huh?
All this warmth and white light too.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think this is the right size screwdriver. That's my problem. Let me go get a better size.
Okay. I think I'm in the right spot for it. Let me do another white balance.
Oh goodness. This cold is killing me. But I had a cold like a week ago. I felt a whole lot better, you know, but it takes a lot out of you.
I don't know, Rusty. I got the Orion Skyglow imaging filter in. I don't know if that's the best filter or not. I think I see some nebulosity above center. Why did they make those little Mickey Mouse, little small screws?
This is Gerd Newman. Big Gerd, thank you. I think Germany, huh? Or Austria, like there's any difference.
Yeah. Let's see, where's my histogram? Let's see, where? My exposure's 10. Maybe I'll go down to 7 seconds again. Stop. My loop at 7. And where's my, now I gotta adjust my histogram. Okay, there. Okay, let's see. Let me start the stack. Oh, man. It's time for me to put a layer on. What is that there?
This?
Oh, that's an off-axis gun?
Yeah, on axis actually.
too much work. No.
Yeah, well, the thing is I put this crazy filter tray on it like last week, and
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't fit as perfectly as I thought it would.
Ooh, that doesn't sound good.
That's just the way it sounds. It squeaks.
You make a Teflon lubricant.
Really?
You spray, and then you brush it on the threads, and it dries, and it leaves a Teflon film.
That sounds good.
I learned about that from Dean at Arizona for the Hyperstar.
So what is the name of it, do you know?
Just look for a
Teflon?
it's a spray
Man, I could use that.
Teflon, and you just, like Dean said, you spray it into the cap,
Uh-huh.
and then use like a Q-tip
Yeah.
and cover the threads with it and let it dry. I just put another layer on, folks. Okay. I'm back. We're trying for... All right, Jim. I don't know if I'm picking up anything or not. Let me lower the white point to 210 and add some to the stack. Only then will I know if I'm in the right spot. When I'm at 7 seconds, right? Yeah, let me change that to 7 seconds. Up. I remember seeing this object once at Chiefland Astronomy Village when I was using my 11-inch with the Hyperstar. And using a 2-minute exposure. Oh, let me put that. Put a name up. Witchhead Nebula. That's what we're trying for. I'm not even sure if I'm in the right spot, but we'll know when I remember with the universe it was really faint. I'm looking at a picture of it on in Sky Tools. I'm trying to convince myself that I'm seeing, yeah, magnitude 8, but it's spread over like 2 degrees by, how big is it? It's the Witchhead is 3 degrees long, so it is a huge target. Very, very low surface brightness. I keep trying to convince myself that I'm seeing some faint nebulosity in the middle of the field, but I see a little box of stars above the bright star. Well, that's if you took the entire nebula, spread out over 3 degrees, and compressed all of the light down to a point source like a star, that's where you could get the magnitude 8. But it's spread out over such a large area that it's a very low surface brightness. One more bump down to 120 in the white point. It's like taking an 8th magnitude star and then defocusing it to cover 3 degrees of the sky, and then see how faint it really is. See, I may be totally in the wrong part of the sky too. I don't know, because I'm trying to match the star field up with sky tools, and we'll know shortly. Give me about 3 more in the stack, and we'll play with the range function to see if I can push anything out. Okay, so let's get a snapshot now and do the range tweak. You're welcome, Nels. There is something there, but boy is it faint. Wow. Night, Nels. Glad you could stop by. Yeah, I see something. Running through here, and oh, that little, that's it. That's the center. Yeah, there's a circle of stars right in the center of the witch's head. That's definitely it. Okay, we got it. I might get that. I might try this again and move the bright star. The bright star is. That's the curving star. I want to move that bright star out the field of view. So let me go back to that. Let me stop the stack. I might try different exposure time. Stop the stack. Stop. Let me move the field of view to the east to get that bright star out of the field of view. Wrong way. Get that bright star out the field. Did a meridian flip, that's what threw everything off. Is it curving? There's that curve. Let me come down a little bit. See, that's the curve of stars right through here. Okay, there's the curve of stars. Okay, let me go to a longer exposure. I'm going to go to 10 seconds. Loop, 10 seconds. See where the histogram ends up. I just bumped the gain up just for a while. Let's see what happens. I bumped the gain up to 60 from 30. It's probably going to blow it all out. Yep, that wasn't good. Hey Jeff, glad you could stop by. Let me go to 40 gain and 7 seconds in loop. Let's see what that does. Yeah, I bumped the gain up to 40. Okay. There's the circle of stars, so it should be in there. Yeah, I think I see nebulosity already, so let me start the stack now. Okay. I'm going to start off with this little circle of stars, which is right in the middle of the seagull. Night, Dewey. Glad you could stop by. I'm gonna let this build. I'm gonna go see how the wife's doing. She was having a low sugar. Night, Don. I'll be back shortly.
about that, Jack. They're a little prices, man. Bill from Gina Astro is, well, it's astronomical.
That's where Omar got his 16-inch. He got it from the Gina Astro.
They're really a pretty good place.
I've gotten stuff from them before. Oh yeah. Let's see where I'm back.
Their website is excellent.
Hey Gene. Sorry, I was taking care of the wife, but I'm back. How do you start picking starting conditions? Good question. I mean, like I tried earlier, I went to a longer exposure and I went to a higher gain and the screen went white. So you back up, you start off with your initial exposure and gain based upon sky conditions. In fact, I got to change my gain reading because the gain is actually 40 now. I forgot that I had changed the gain to 40. We're trying to get the Witch Head Nebula, which is a really faint, diffuse nebula, about 3 degrees long. I probably have way too many in the stack already, yeah. I'm going to do one more drop. I think I'm seeing the... yeah, this is a very faint... I can see it a little bit better, Rusty, this exposure than I did with the last one. I'm going to do one more lowering on the white point to about 150. I mean, it's definitely running from about the 1 o'clock position down to about the 7 o'clock position through the field. Let me get to about 120 in the stack. Right now I'm at 117 in the stack. When I get to about 120, I'll grab a snapshot and then try tweaking it. Yeah, you could grab individual images and then tweak them afterwards if you want. I usually automate the capture to have an image captured every so many seconds and stuck in a folder, and then I'll look at the images later. Tonight I decided just to let it run, and I'll grab a snapshot like I'm going to do right now. I grabbed a snapshot, process, range, and I'm going to just process this snapshot by raising the black point. And then lowering the white point. And there's the witch head. You can see it now. Yeah. Yep, that's what I would suggest. Yeah, use a program like Astro Toaster. Have your software snap an image every so many seconds and shove it in a folder, and then Astro Toaster takes those images and on the fly stacks them and processes them. You know, this image of witch head is pretty comparable to the one I had gotten 5 years ago with the universe. Of course, I was using 2-minute exposures with the universe. In MallinCam Sky, you can't stack images captured on the fly. You can average them. Like what I'm running here is I'm running a 7-second exposure and I'm averaging them on the fly. Like right now I have in this stack, I have 143 7-second exposures in this average. Yeah, that's what I did a little bit ago, Rusty. I'm gonna take another snap. It's like this is now 145 images in the stack. Snap it, and then tweak the like I said before we did the range function, bringing up the black point, lowering the white point. And then let me see if I can also process color toning. See what else can I do? Filters. Denoise, sharpen. Maybe you can do image stacking on the. I guess you can. There's an image stacking function built into the process tab here. Image stack. So you may be able to do that on the fly. Yeah, I haven't played with that one yet either, Rusty. I mean, there's a lot of stuff into this software. So I'm back live again. Okay, so let's see what else we're going to look for now. Where am I aimed? I'm aimed. I did the heart, the soul. It's the witch head. See, here's a. That was the tweak. You can see it. It runs almost. It's like 3 degrees long, running almost across the entire field of view. Good night, Rusty. Glad you could stop by. I wonder if I could get Bernard's loop. Somebody did that. I think Dewey did it one night.
Operation completed.
Operation completed.
That might be too faint. Yeah. I'm gonna forget that. What else do they have that's big? Process is the same, Gene. Just the 287 has a very small sensor. It's about, I think it's 6.3 millimeter measured diagonally. The sensor in this camera is 21.8 millimeters, more than 3 times the diagonal extent or 9 times the area visible on the screen. So you're looking at a small high-powered field of view with the 287. It all depends on what targets you're going to try to capture. Oh, I know what I could do now. Where is that? Let's go. Let me go to Taurus.
Telescope slewing to target.
I'm going to go to the Pleiades.
Telescope slew complete.
Okay. Okay, let me go back to live. Let me stop the stacking. Okay. There's the Pleiades. Okay, so I don't need that higher gain. So let me stop. I'm going to lower the gain back down to 30. Gain 30. I'm going to go to a 5-second exposure and loop and let's see what happens. And where's my black point? Let me move that over here. Okay. Okay, so we got erase 5 seconds. Okay, I'm back. So let's start aligning now. And let me change this. This is the Pleiades. So what I'm doing, Gene, is I have it capturing and averaging the images on the fly. So I have like 5, 6 in the stack now. And you're seeing a little bit of the nebulosity around Merope already. So do I still have the saturation 1.5 with the gamma and saturation 90? Yep, it's still the same. So I got 11 in the stack. Yeah, because of the field of view, it ought to be pretty nice. Which, so I got 15 in the stack. Let me now just drop the white down to about 210. Okay. So I'll add about another 5 to the stack. Okay, let me go to about 25. What's the color adjustments? Yeah, you can see some of the Merope Nebula already, I think. So now let me lower the white again to about 180. I think I'm still applying a dark. Yeah, I'm still applying a dark. drop it down to 150. Okay. Nebulosity is starting to pop a little bit more. I'll be able to drop this down to about 90 on the histogram. One more drop to 90. And build it to about 60 and then we'll do a tweak. I don't know. Few more in the stack. Doing all right, David?
All right, it's a little chilly out there.
Yes, it is. I decided to go to the Pleiades.
Oh, man, that ought to be.
I'm at 5-second exposures now.
Yeah, I know. It's like that nebulosity's there and all.
Yeah, you can see the Merope nebulas coming up.
Can.
So now it's time to do a snapshot and then do a process, range. So let's see what I can drive out of it. Raise the black right to about there and then lower the white.
Yeah, it's funny though. It's 255. It's 8-bit.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, just think if that was 16. It's kind of unusual for.
I mean, look, yeah, there it is.
Oh, man.
And you start seeing the browns and all, you know.
Oh, check, that's freaking beautiful. Are you doing any kind of tracking at all? I mean, any guiding?
No guiding.
No guiding.
No.
No, I guess with that mount, you know. Wow.
I don't know, Gene. Let's see. If I go back to the live image, if I really mess around with the histogram and see, the problem is if you mess around with the histogram while you're stacking, you're not going to see it quickly in the stack. See, I turned the stack off. Now I'm going back. This is the live image here. Yes? See, you can tweak the histogram, but it's not the same as tweaking the stack. Yeah, the software has star registration. It looks at the stars and matches the stars and then stacks the stars on top of each other. If you don't have, if you're in Altaz mode, or if you don't have perfect perfectly aligned equatorial mount, then the stars will register, but then you'll see these little areas that, like on the edges, that like a little, you'll see like a triangular area come out of the corner, where if it rotate, you get field rotation. The stars in the middle will be aligned, but the ones on the edges that can't keep up with the rotation. So you could start off with a image like this and then start stacking. And it's going to smooth out a lot of the noise. No, it can't compensate for the field rotation. The stars near the majority of the field of view will be aligned, but then the edges kind of
rotates, really.
The whole frame rotates, so that if you're stacking it, then you get a little triangular wedge in the edges that kind of goes to like a little grayish color. But then if you zoom in slightly, you don't see that part, so it doesn't make a difference. Yes, I am polar aligned. But if I was in an alt-azimuth, like when I go to the Grand Canyon, I bring a little alt-az scope, and then you'll get field rotation effects, but the stars will still align and stack on top of each other. So the majority of the field of view will be nice. You'll just have the edges that are not a stack of all the frames. Yeah, I have a telekit on my 17.5, and I haven't used one of these cameras on it, but there's no reason why you could not use it. I know there's a gentleman that has a 16-inch Orion tracking Dob that he uses a camera with, and he gets great images. Scott Sudoff, he's posted a bunch of pictures done with that Orion tracking Dob, and the stacks look good. You just crop them to eliminate the edges of the field where the field rotation shows up in the stack. You getting toasty warm?
My feet are dead. I can't feel them. I changed my socks and put some wool socks, but
I got my wool
I thought
socks.
I could be discreet here, but
No, it's fine. I started off with my wool socks on.
oh man.
Yeah, look for Scott Sudoff. He has an Orion tracking Dob. I think it's Orion. I think it's a 16-inch that he uses at like f4 or f4.5, and he's done some great things with his cameras. Yep, I have an Argo Navis with my ServoCat drive system. Where's the jellyfish? Lowers Nebulas in Orion. Oh, this is the one that Dan Prohl did the other night. Lowers Nebula. Is that the monkey head? What is it? Is that the monkey head? That's the monkey head. Let me go to the monkey head.
Telescope slewing to target.
Going to the monkey head, wherever that is. Let me see where it's going.
Telescope slew complete.
David, one of these days I'm going to put a red flashing light on that counterweight shaft. Let's go to the live view. Oh, I'm still...
Telescope slewing to target.
Uh-oh.
Telescope slew complete.
Something happened. God. What the heck happened? Let's see what happened. Walked into that counterweight shaft.
Telescope slew complete.
Let me stop this recording.